I committed a terrible, unforgivable crime. I stole 40 of the best years from an incredibly talented woman. I locked her away. I suffocated her. And I did it all just so people would call me a good wife and a dutiful daughter. My name is Eleanor. I am 88 years old, and I made my very first real-life decision at 63. That is not a triumph. That is a tragedy. When I was 24, I had a fire in my chest, a real one. I wanted to open a small architectural design studio. Nothing glamorous, just me, designing spaces that actually felt alive. I brought the idea to my father. He didn't yell. He didn't crush it cruelly. Worse, he smiled. He patted my hand, and he said, "That's sweet, honey, but that is just not practical." That one sentence cost me 4 decades of my life. I listened to him. I married safe. I chose stable. I chose predictable. And I built a life that looked absolutely flawless in family photographs. 2 perfectly dressed children, a solid brick house, a husband who paid the bills and never raised his voice. From the outside, it was the American dream. From the inside, it was quiet, polite suffocation. At 52 years old, I went up to the attic to find winter coats. Instead, I found my old architectural sketchbooks at the bottom of a cardboard box. They were dusty, the pages were yellowed, but the lines on that paper were still screaming with life. I traced my fingers over a drawing of a house I designed when I was 24, and I sat on that dirty attic floor and I wept. And do you know what I did next? I closed the box. I put it back in the dark. I washed my face with cold water. I went downstairs and I served my family a pot roast for dinner. My husband and my children sat there, eating my food, telling me what a wonderful homemaker I was. They smiled, and I smiled back. But I looked at my own hands, and I realized those exact hands had just strangled my soul to death up in that attic. I smiled, and I asked them if they wanted second helpings. That is what giving up actually looks like. My husband Richard wasn't a bad man. He just liked the version of me that didn't change, the version that served him coffee and kept the house quiet. When I was 61, Richard had a minor stroke. We sat in the sterile hospital room. The machines were humming. He looked out the window. He didn't even look at me. And he said something that chilled my blood. "I bought the right cars, Eleanor. I worked the safe job. But if I could go back, I would have actually tried to live." I did not feel pity in that moment. I felt absolute, pure horror. I had sacrificed my genius, my fire, and my entire existence to make a man comfortable. And he was not even happy. We were both just sitting inside this perfect brick prison, pretending to be alive. 2 years later, at 63, I finally opened a design studio. It was one tiny room above a bakery. I took my drawings to a commercial investor, a 30-year-old man in an expensive suit. He looked at me like I was a crazy grandmother who got lost on her way to the grocery store. He patronized me. He smiled that same awful smile my father gave me 40 years ago. It was completely humiliating. My hands were physically shaking when I walked out of that glass building. But let me tell you the absolute truth about humiliation. Humiliation lasts 20 minutes in a boardroom. Regret corrodes your bones until the day they put you in the ground. One is a sharp pain that heals. The other is a slow poison. I made my first serious, profitable money at 71 years old. Not millions, but enough. Enough to look at a building in my city and know it existed simply because I finally dared to draw it. And the money was never the point. The prestige was never the point. The point was breathing fully for the very first time in my adult life. Now I am 88. Richard is gone. Most of my friends are gone. And as I sit here at the end of my road, the only things that keep me warm at night are the risks I finally had the guts to take. You sitting there, you think you have an endless supply of time. You think you will try later, when the kids are older, when the economy is better, when you have more saved up. Later is a luxury that disappears without a single warning. I buried 3 close friends who were all just about to start something. They took their dreams straight to the graveyard. Listen to me. You are not lazy. You are not incapable. You are just scared. That is human. But fear is not a life strategy. If I could tattoo one sentence on the inside of your eyelids, it would be this: the life you avoid does not disappear. It waits. And one day, when you are old and tired, it sits at the edge of your bed and asks you what you did with it. I cannot buy back my 40 lost years. No brilliant investment strategy fixes that. I would trade every single dollar I made in my 70s just for 1 year at 30 with courage. Just one. Stop asking for permission to be who you are. The people who benefit from you being quiet and safe and comfortable, they are never going to give you the keys to your own cage. You have to break the damn door down yourself. My name is Eleanor. I am 88 years old, and I am not here to motivate you. I am here to warn you. Start before safety becomes your coffin. Now go.